Can I make a recommendation for a segment? Because you could milk the shit out of this each week.
Yeah.
Each week, John pulls out something from the collection, SNES.
We talk about it.
Be it an appliance, a game, a port from,
actually a good idea,
from
yeah.
Japan. Yeah.
I've got a closet, things you've never even knew existed.
Weird shit. Or even, like, he has, like, I think 5 or 6 different SNESs, all slightly
Do you
different
have
from...
a working SNES?
I have more than 30 working SNES.
Holy
I didn't even know that.
We should play the game before we start the podcast for like 15, 20 minutes and then talk about
It's
it.
a great idea. How many Super Scopes do you have?
I've got 4 Super Scopes.
What the hell is a Super Scope?
It's a gigantic bazooka that was modeled after, you know, the NES little duck
Yep,
hunt
yep.
gun? It was a bazooka-mounted version of that was more
How
accurate.
convenient.
The Anaconda.
And it had, like, multiple triggers and it had a sight, like, so you actually look at it.
I'll get a picture of one
And then
of
I
those.
got the rarest, one of the rarest things in my collection. I have a modified M16A. It's a disabled M16A. It was modified for the government, and they would use it to train train Marines.
Hunt
Yeah.
ducks.
And I have the cartridge, and there's like
And feed them to dogs.
25, 30 of them in existence, and I have one of those.
But, I mean, you have a rare opportunity here with John as an SNES collector to, like... He has so much shit. It's insane. Buckets
I'm
of
game to
games.
do it.
Buckets. Did you ever collect the boxes for the games?
I have a good number of boxes.
You had said they had a modified chip on one of the cartridges.
Oh yeah, they were getting really desperate to try to squeeze awesome things out of games, so they just started putting new processors in the cartridges. That's why the games cost $70.
Kind of when Funko-Land was really big, which actually that was back when they were kind of cool because they would sell old games for really cheap, and John would go. I'd go with John, and he would go there and just stuff a bag full of SNES.
Destroy the place.
I buy,
No, he really
I buy
would.
10 to 20 SNES games at a time.
Were they
Come in
cheap?
with a grocery carriage.
Were they really cheap?
Right through the window
Oh,
and
yeah.
make his own door.
50 cents.
25
When the dust
cents a
clears, he walks through.
Did you actually play it?
Silhouette.
Saturday.
He's got a Super Scope.
2 Super Scopes.
He's got like
30 SNESs.
he's got bags hanging from both ends of the Super Scope.
I used to go there every week to buy
SNES
games.
chain linked
Really
armor.
would. It was actually really fun because you'd watch somebody buy the shit out of the place, and it was really cool. And they would have like the occasional like golden cartridge, like Zelda or whatever. It's kind of neat. They had these big vats of it, but
You remember Mario Paint for
We were
SNES?
just talking about Mario Paint the other day. Do you actually have the mouse?
I do. I have the mouse and
Oh.
the mouse pad. The mouse pad is actually the
I was
most
trying to explain
rare
to
part.
Frankie
Fantastic.
the fly swatting game.
Oh,
with
it's so
the
much
mouse.
fun. It's just a classic game.
The obnoxious noises.
But I have like 16 copies of Mario Paint because
it's super available.
Well, that's
it was
normal.
it was, it
Couldn't
was
help himself.
25 cents. And
That's a reason to buy 16
not
copies of it?
the good reason to buy it is you can actually, if
calling
you need to
quarters.
fix Super Nintendo cartridges, the contents of that cartridge are so big that you can fix almost any game with those parts.
So
Because
Mario
it-
Paint is like your blank template for other games?
It has the biggest amount of storage space, so you can use that
Could you
chip.
feasibly make a an
port?
RPG Maker game and put it on an N64?
Yes,
SNES cartridge.
it would be a lot of work, but yes, you could.
What is the largest capacity SNES cartridge? I'm sure it's going to be hilariously small.
No, it's 48 megabits, which is 6 megabytes. Is
Right.
the largest
Holy
one. That's Fantasy Ocean, like it was Japanese only.
Probably came out like right at the end of the life.
2000.
Yeah,
Fantasy Star?
in
Fantasy
2000.
Yeah.
they're still making games.
You just said that?
Yeah, 2000 was the last.
Isn't the GameCube
that
coming
game-
out just about then?
Yeah, the
2001,
last
yeah.
game was in 2000, but I think, and that was also another 48 mbit game. It was like
What the hell were they still
Fire
making
Emblem.
games all the way through
It
the
was
N64
Japan
days?
only.
Japan probably had a market
Japan
for it.
still loved the Super Nintendo well beyond
Sick
its.
bastards.
That's wild.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you guys to a piece of video gaming hardware. This is a real special one. It's in its box.
It looks like dumps. Go on.
Yep.
It looks like a small Linksys router.
A purple cartridge that... I mean, it looks like a hybrid between an NES and an SNES cartridge, actually.
Now this looks like Sega Genesis patented lock-on.
You watch your mouth, Sega
Lock-on
Genesis.
technology is here.
This is the only way to play Super Nintendo games with someone who is not at your house. This is before the internet.
Wow, is that an Ethernet cable or?
No, that's a telephone.
Holy
On the
shamaz!
Super Nintendo?
And this is a modem.
How does that even work? What the f?
I told you this is weird stuff. This is called the X band, and what it is you plugged it into your Super Nintendo and you put a game on top in here and select games you could play online. You'd connect to their service, and then your friend could also connect, and they could join your game, and you could play. They would have one controller, and you would have the other controller, and you could play two-player
Now, you're talking about the 56K modem here, and I'm
Yes.
having flashbacks and memories of logging into AOL and like the weird, terrible noises.
Yes.
That also go.
It does make these noises. Yep.
It does?
Yep.
What bull dumps?
It actually...
What games? Can you give me a list of
Yeah,
games?
you said a select games. How big is this library?
The library was quite small.
You have a library list there.
I don't know. Let's see if it includes it in the... Here's a list of the features. Maybe this will be of interest. We got challenge, which you can challenge somebody else. You have K-mail, you know, like email, but K.
Did you ever actually play
I don't know why. I never did because the service is sadly gone. It shut down.
How long was it
And
around?
without the service...
It shut down in 2010.
It shut down in 1998.
Okay. When was it first offered? When was this?
This
1998 January.
This one started off here. Let's see if we can find a
3 weeks
piece of
earlier.
Information. It was not incredibly popular because of technological problems with it.
This was the age of more of the line where I think your average Super Nintendo fan was just like, well, why doesn't Bobby just come over and we can play Street Fighter?
So what year? What year was this released?
This is 94.
Since it was 94, I bet if you could get a hold of the source code, it'd be really easy to host the service again.
Probably it would be, and it's all dial in, and it's you put in the number you want it to connect to, and you know it's got your stats. It can keep your your stats and all kinds of. So I found a list of games that you could play with this
Bring this up,
wondrous
yeah.
device.
How many games?
About 20
Yeah.
games. Doom.
Well.
and Griffey Baseball.
Doom
Kirby's
would've been a big seller
Avalanche.
back then.
Kirby's Avalanche. That would be.
Killer Instinct.
Wow.
Nice.
2 NFL Maddens. Mortal Kombat 2 and
Even
Mortal
back
Kombat
then, they were
3.
plaguing us.
The Mortal Kombats I could see.
Yeah, Madden 95. We got NBA Jam, 2 NHL
sports games.
games.
Oh my God.
Super Mario Kart.
Well, there's
Street
the-
Fighter 2.
Super Mario Kart. Then that would have been a great thing back
Yeah.
then. To have
And that
online.
one supposedly
I'm kind of
worked very
surprised.
well.
I'm surprised to find that. I wonder if there's some videos online of people playing it together.
I'd imagine it looks exactly the same.
You
as
think there was like
playing
a
it.
shitload of lag, like there
Yeah.
was?
Well, that
we were
was-
plagued in
That
'97 on
was
the
one of the
computers.
big problems, especially with the more complicated games. What this system basically does is it patches the game and redirects the input that would come into the control port over the modem. And this is a 2400 baud
that
modem.
is awful.
Ouch! So
Yeah.
you're playing off a one-person screen, technically, right?
You're playing-
whoever the host is.
Yeah, you're both hosts, but you each have the cartridge in. But my information is being transmitted to your game as player 1. Your information is being transmitted to my game as player 2.
Oh.
So both people
you-
are just getting lagged to hell. And
Yes,
it's miserable.
With games like Mortal Kombat 3, supposedly it worked terribly. But games like Mario Kart, it worked great because you didn't have to press that many buttons.
No.
It was also available for Genesis. They did have a Genesis version, and they had a Saturn version.
Who makes it?
It was made by a company called Catapult. The last one is a Weapon Lord, and then the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past Secret Maze game.
What?
If you cause a bug in the game, whenever you go into a door, you'll be
secret cow level?
transported to an area that just has a ton of rupees.
Yes, I
and
know
it
this,
says it has like a contest winner's name.
Yep.
And that must be what they're talking about because we all know that game top to bottom, and I don't know any Secret Maze game.
There's like a secret rupee room in like Kakariko
Yeah.
Village.
Secret Rupee Room.
Maybe
the old
that's-
secret Rupee room.
Rupee Room.
You know, everyone knows
Rupee
about
room.
it. The old secret
Let's all go to the Rupee Room.
Supposedly, so it didn't. It was 1997 when it closed up shop, and
All right, well,
It's a
so
good
let's officially say right now
Yeah.
this was a piece of dump.
yeah, it kind of was.
How much money was it, by the
can
way?
we-
$70
Holy crap!
Brand new,
plus a monthly
$70.
fee.
For $70,
A monthly fee of like $9.99, and this is
Should be a
$19.94.
kid trying to afford this on like an allowance.
Yeah.
So, but can we agree that this was an interesting step in a direction that now is taken for granted? Is the fact that you can play video games over the interwebs?
I agree. Just unfortunately, it's like a thought unrealized. I mean,
Oh, it's absolutely. I mean, well, this is the kind of stuff that nowadays, whenever somebody tries something new or radical, everyone cracks down on it for it. Like, you're stupid. This is a gimmick. This is dumb. And I didn't even know this existed.
Had this come out in like '92, maybe that would have been a nice thing.
Maybe.
Just a little late in the game. '97, just a little late.
Yeah.
Oh, John's got his accessory.
It's not just an accessory.
arrived by USPS.
I was just looking at the date. I got this December 26, 2008.
Wow.
8.
An oldie, but a goodie.
No, it's a different kind of Super Nintendo.
It looks like a very different kind of Super Nintendo.
Just to paint the picture for the listeners,
Bubble wrap.
we're really just looking
And
at
a motherboard.
small motherboards. Yeah.
So what this is, you take this and a standard arcade cabinet. I don't know if you know that arcade cabinets are actually standard. All the connectors. are the
By
same.
a cabinet, do you mean like the
A big cabinet.
The surrounding-
Like a wall cabinet. The thing that you can do is, so there's a couple different standards, but you just pop this board into one of those arcade cabinets, and it makes it a Super Nintendo Play System, in which you have to put in a quarter, and then you can select from one of these 3 games that plug into 3 slots.
Now, are these small motherboards? Are these the things?
These
that,
are actual
do
Super
these
Nintendo
come out
games.
of the games?
How
Like
many?
if I were to go open up,
3. Just 3 games.
if I were to go
What games?
open up one of the games, could I pull one of these out of the cartridge?
Yes. I mean, well, yeah, so this is, well, no, they're in different formats. They don't look like this.
Okay, that's what I'm wondering.
One of this is Super Tennis, as you can see right there.
So you can have up to 3 games on this one.
Yes.
One board.
F-Zero, and I think this one is Super Mario World.
So what's the point of this?
Super Mario World.
This is
sounds
if
like
you
it'd be
did not
awesome.
own yourself a Super Nintendo.
Oh, you can make an arcade game.
You could go to the arcade and play Super Nintendo for a certain amount of time or a certain amount of lives. I think is the way it runs in this setup.
So looking at this makes me remember think of something. So
Yeah.
we had cartridges back then.
Sure.
And the cartridges have their own capabilities.
Uh-huh.
Some games had more memory than others.
Yep.
Was there a huge price variation on the Super Nintendo games and just cartridge games in general? I don't remember, but I would
There
imagine
wasn't a
that
big
like obviously
variation-
F-Zero has a lot more
Yes.
going on than
And these are nothing compared to later games. So Nintendo kept the price of the games pretty constant, from about $30 to $70, which was a lot of money at the time. But even the games that eventually replaced most of the Super Nintendo on the cartridge still cost the same as games that didn't. It was all just about the how much development effort went into the game, and Nintendo never charged for the hardware on the cartridge.
All right, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Why do I
you-
have this?
Yeah.
Because I have almost everything you could ever imagine related to Super Nintendos, and this is the rare. There's only about 500 of these, and who knows how many still work.
Are you ever going to put it together?
No, if I ever have an arcade cabinet, maybe.
Yeah, you're out of your mind if you don't buy an arcade cabinet.
Why couldn't they make a really flat, small Super Nintendo back then instead of giving me that stupid box? They could have just made one
It has
of this
all
dimension.
of the same electronics as a regular Super Nintendo.
John, what is it about Super Nintendo that captures your imagination?
The colors?
I think,
The color
well,
scheme?
it was
Gray and purple?
yeah, gray and purple. That was part of it. Brilliant industrial design.
Like, why is that your favorite system?
I think it was at first just the system that I had the most fun playing. I mean, the best games, all the Final Fantasy games, all Super Mario, all those great games. That was where all those games came from, and that was the system I had, growing up. And kind of until I got out of video games, until I was 17 or so, and didn't really.
So that monopolized most of your video gaming life.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then after that, it's just become an interesting thing to collect and learn.
Was it because?
Here comes John with looks like a calculator.
looks like a
All right,
Super
so
Nintendo.
holy crap! Here is an unusual item. This particular item
It's a Super Nintendo.
is the most boring item that you could possibly have.
Can I see it from the front, please?
Sure.
All right, so it looks like coax cables attached to a regular SNES.
So do you know what this device was for? This was at Super
Is that
Nintendo
lock-on technology?
service. It is kind of lock-on technology. This was at a service center, Super Nintendo Service Center, used to test cables.
Wait, there was a Super Nintendo Service Center somewhere.
Yeah.
Where?
In Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Not D.C., state.
So if you had issues,
Well, back then you
had
used to have a shoe repairman.
because that's where the headquarters of Nintendo of America is.
Yeah. So you'd plug all your cables in
So
up
this
here
was used by SNES professionals
Yeah.
Redmond,
to,
Washington.
as a diagnostic tool?
as a diagnostic tool.
So
Absolutely.
how is the SNES attached to the other part of the device?
It's all wired in underneath here. And you can connect up all your cables, and then you analyze the output signals, and you can see if it's working correctly.
What is that? A large cable next to the sole coax, the large hole. No. Put it-
Let's go easy with
Oh,
this.
that's for the power adapter. So you put your power adapter in there to make sure that's working. That's the RF, and that's the multi-out that's on the back for Super Nintendo.
How much money did you pay for this?
I think about $80.
$80?
Yeah.
Cool. That is one.
it
That is one
plays, right?
stained SNES.
The
Were you-
Super Nintendo counter.
Were you ever a
Does it
smoker?
play?
Yeah, no. The SNES is like bright yellow.
Did you beat off
No,
on it?
actually,
Simpsons yellow.
I don't know if we've ever talked about this before, but the
But you
reason
have beat off on it.
Who wouldn't?
about it
yes,
now.
very
I
evenly.
don't know if we've ever talked about this before. On the
Very
podcast.
evenly, I coded it, and just so because I wanted to get the color even. No,
Brushed it with cement.
the reason some
like a deck?
if you remember when we were real young, Apple II computers,
Yes.
were all this same color gray,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
and they all turned the same
Yellow.
the same yellow.
Nicotine yellow.
They're all nerds.
A problem with the plasticizer caused certain batches of it
Activate
to
plasticizer.
lose its color. In the same way all old Macs lose their color. It's the same plastic, same process.
I see.
So that's why you can
Did you just
actually
make that up on the
restore it.
spot?
It sounded pretty convincing. Isn't it?
Plasticizer doesn't sound convincing.
I know the same story, so I
Plasticizer
believe
is-
John on this.
Yeah.
What the hell is a plasticizer?
It's what transforms a plastic from a liquid to a solid.
27 years old. I've never heard plasticizer in my life.
Google it, man.
Does it play?
I don't actually know if this works. I don't think I've ever plugged it in.
Buy that, but not.
You've never plugged it in.
No.
I think the idea is that he just has all these things.
Yeah.
He's not open a
The problem is that you really need. Yeah, it belongs in a museum.
If it has a tag, no, it has a tag, so it's been tested. This is here you can see the original label, serial number 277.
You should decorate your walls in just SNES stuff.
I totally.
How else to express yourself? You could coat like one whole wall and just.
That's this week's Super Nintendo.
All right, well that's the end of Rage Quit.